Top news. Maher warns Gore against making Trump-Nazi comparisons. Comedian Bill Maher warned former Vice President Gore against comparing President Trump and his actions to those made by leaders in Nazi Germany on Friday. Earlier this week, Gore said the current administration is aiming to create their own preferred version of reality in a method that resembles the Nazis' rise to power during World War II at the San Francisco Climate Week. On Friday, Maher pushed back on Gore's view during an episode of HBO's Real Time with Bill Maher. "I just think, Nazi is a hard word to use with nuance. So when you bring that word out, I feel like they're the goat of evil," Maher told Gore in an appearance highlighted by Mediaite. "And so it just conflates." Gore shot back, arguing he didn't make that harsh of a comparison. "But if you look at what I actually said in that speech, there was a group of German philosophers that went back after the war and conducted a kind of moral autopsy," Gore said. "And they said, one of them said, that the first step on the descent into hell in that case was, and I quote, the conversion of all questions of truth into questions of power." Gore went on to state that Trump's foreign policy dealings and false claims about climate change draw parallels with the Nazi Party's expansion. "When I see and hear over and over again, I see the assertion of complete inaccuracies that Ukraine is responsible for starting the war with Russia," Gore contended. "They keep asserting these things, expecting us to believe that the climate crisis is a hoax invented by the Chinese, that windmills cause cancer, that coal is clean." Trump has long blamed Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky for initiating the war in Ukraine, which began in February 2022 after Russia invaded the country. The president has also expressed skepticism about the severity of climate change over the years and has sought to roll back environmental regulations while in office. "They try to assert with the force of power their own special version of alternative facts," Gore added. However, Maher, who recently met with Trump at the White House, which was met with some backlash from Democrats, said using the word Nazi offends those who voted for the president. "I guarantee that the side of the country that voted for Trump, they hear Nazi and they just go, 'Oh, you're calling us Nazis,'" Maher said. "First of all, it's a bit of a false premise, as bad as they are. And also, it just says to them, 'Well, you just hate us,'" he added. The debate between the talk show host and former vice president comes several days after comedian Larry David slammed Maher for visiting Trump at the White House, comparing the president to Hitler. Maher knocked David over the satirical op-ed published in the New York Times describing a dinner with the leader of the Third Reich and argued it's insulting to Jewish people killed in the Holocaust. "I must say, come on man, Hitler? Nazis? Nobody has been harder about and more prescient, I must say, about Donald Trump than me," Maher said on the Piers Morgan Uncensored podcast, responding to David's op-ed. "I don't need to be lectured on who Donald Trump is. Just the fact that I met him in person didn't change that. And the fact I reported honestly is not a sin either," he continued. "But, to use the Hitler thing, first of all, I just think it's kind of insulting to 6 million dead Jews. That should kind of be in its own place in history."